Hi everybody, Emily here with you today to share a layout I created for this very special International Scrapbooking Day with Hip Kit Club. My challenge for you is to create a layout using only paper. I do not want to see any pre-made embellishments, and I do not want to see any pre-made alphas. You've got to make it all yourself, and I have filmed this process so that you can get quite a few good ideas on how to get around it. So I started by prepping my cardstock with some clear gesso because I knew I was going to use some mixed media to create a bit of interest. Then I went on to do a lot of fussy cutting, so I'm speeding through it and not letting you watch all of it because there's a little bit of it. It's a great way to create the illusion of embellishments on your layout. I love this technique when I'm running out of embellishments and I want to add flowers, details, etc. So that's one of the good tips for you. One of the good things to go down the road of to have a really nice layout without using any embellishments. So as I am short for time, I dried off further my gesso. It wasn't fully dried, so I went off to dry it off with my heat gun. And then once it was dry, I added a lot of water on my background and I started to work the colours that are in the colour kit from the April kit. So I used the green, the yellow, and then I added the third one, the pink. And I was trying to be careful so I wouldn't create a dirty brown in the middle. So that's where you can see me removing a little bit of the colour that was starting to turn brown with a bit of tissue paper. I then added a few splatters of water just to create a bit of false texture on the background, and then I went around and I splattered a lot of the colours around my page, making sure that I dried my page between every single layer so that it would really create those layer droplets of colours. So there I am going around with every single colours and adding all the splatters. I just love the effect it creates. It's something I've been admiring on others scrapbookers layout, and that I've been dying to try and create that kind of look, that kind of effect on my page. So now I'm looking at my photo and I choose this one of Sophia where we had been doing a bit of finger painting, and she has that plastic shopping bag that I had cut off to use on an apron, and she's got paint on herself as well. So I thought I would go with the title of My Little Artist, and I chose to use the colours, the three colours that I have on my background, which is the yellow, the pink and the green. And I'm trying also to have those colours on top of the same colours underneath. And I'm hand drawing everything. So what you can see is that I did my M at first, and then from time to time I go back with the letters so that I don't end up with some letters absolutely huge and some letters really small. So I do still try to do a letter comparison, and like for the L I drew again against the with the other L I used it as a template so that we ended up with two similar L's. And yeah, so I'm drawing every letters and then fussy cutting them. And one of the good tips is if you draw in reverse, so if you draw on the back of the side you will want to show, because you do not want to have some, well, you might want to because it could be a cool effect, but in this instance I didn't want to have marks of my pens showing on my paper, so I drew my letters in reverse and cut it off in every single one in a different pattern paper. I also decided to use the L to create my T. I thought it would be, as you can see, I thought it would be a good way because obviously all you need to add is a little extra branch, and it would a shirt I would end up with a letter that would be very similar, and still it works out that it really looked like everything is in the same font really, even though it was all hand drawn and it could have ended up looking very different. But no, it's all in the same font. So that was one of the longest process through creating this layout. So once all of my letters are cut out, what I did is I placed some double-sided sticky foam pads on the back of all of them, and that would allow me to mount them on my background, creating volume. So they wouldn't, I wasn't gonna stick them directly onto my background. I wanted them to be erased off, and it gives it more of that impression that you would get with alphas you've bought and manufactured alphas, but it really is handmade, and you'll see the finished result. I really like the finished result. I went really wild with this layout and out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoy the result. I had loads of fun creating this, and it was one of them where you'll see later on, I just dived in. I just literally dived in, and I thought if it works, it'll look awesome. If it doesn't work, it's just paper and you can get rid. But it just it's just about having fun, and because you don't use expensive embellishments on that as well, I think it's more freeing, because it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out, because you feel less guilty to mess up if it's just paper that get wasted. If you start to think of the price of the embellishments, etc., it gets nerve-wracking. But because it's just paper, I think I just had a lot more fun with it. So I wanted for my alphas to stick out, to stand out more, even more around the page, and I started to hand draw around each alphas, and I thought that one line wasn't enough, so I made it a double line, every single one of my alphas, and doodling around it. It doesn't have to be perfect, that's the whole point of the doodle, it's just to make it look, it's hand drawn around every alphas. And then I thought that I wanted to add a few flowers and details, embellishment, and I started to play around with the placement of the flowers I had fussy cut, and I thought, that spot is perfect for my journaling. So I decided to stamp around my journaling, explaining what that day was about. And I'm fast forwarding this process, because you don't want to see me stamp every single letters. And same again, fussy cut flowers, sticky foam pads. I think I should buy some shares in sticky foam pads factories. I go through them so quickly, it's shocking, but I love them. I use them all the time. I think it's one of the coolest way to turn paper and pattern papers into an embellishment on a page. I had so much volume. I love it. Anyway, it's one of my must-have in my craft stash. I think I almost ran out not so long ago, and I panic bought loads. Some people panic bought loo rolls. I panic bought some sticky foam pads, so shortage was because of me. Anyway, so I'm placing around my little lemons underneath my flowers, just layering, fussy cutting more, and layering more and more lemon flowers, and until I'm happy with the embellished letters. And even then, the layout like that looks really good. I would be happy with the layout being finished like that, but I keep going, and I add more and more detail. as I was adding more and more layers of flowers, I had this idea in the back of my head, and I jumped for it. I just grabbed my pen and I started to doodle around some hand-drawn flowers, and that was the point where it was either gonna go wrong or it's gonna go really, really right. And it's something that I've never done in that extent before. It's something that I was shy to try. Like I say, it was toying with me the whole time. I was just like, oh, shouldn't I? And in the end, I'm really glad I did. It's this layout is very, very different for me, but I think I love it. It's very eccentric, it's different, it's tropical, it's summery, but most of all, really, all I've used are a few scraps of paper. And if you're money conscious and you want to make the most of all your kit, it's a great way to really go and make the most of it. So then I thought I wanted to add a little bit more depth to it. So I went over the black line with a thicker felt pen, and I drew over again, and then remembered I was left-handed and that the ink was transferring a layer bit around. So that's where I grabbed that layer bit of paper. So if you're going to use that technique, don't make the same mistake as me and protect your page. That's where I've learned a bit there. You live and you learn. But I just love the end result. I think it's brilliant. It's very unique. It's very me in the sense that I've drawn it, I've created the pattern, and I'm really proud of this page. I hope you like it too. I hope it's inspired you to join in my challenge. I really can't wait to see your creation and see what you come up with. Lots of love, and see you soon. Bye.